I'm Mike Hall, and today we're making our Margherita Pizza. Welcome back to Real Estate Recipes. I'm Mike Hall, and it's been a while since we've done a recipe. I'm real happy to be here today. Today we're making a Margherita Pizza. Today it's a very simple pizza. It's not like at the Tropical Naples make one. You're not going to make a dough where you have to proof overnight and get it the next day. Today we're just going to use a simple pizza yeast. It's an instant pizza yeast you can get at any grocery store. But if you choose any other dough, you can use that as well. I mean, the toppings are still going to be the same. You can really just interchange them however you like. Not only is this one super easy, but it is also super tasty. It's a really good recipe. It's very traditional. It's got 3 basic ingredients on top, and that's it. The red, white, and the green for the Italian flag, and that's it. And so let's get to it. Today's ingredients: you need 14.5 ounce can of San Marzano whole plum tomatoes, 1.5 cups of flour, plus some more, probably about a cup more to add later. 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, 1 packet of pizza yeast, 2/3 a cup of warm water, about 120 to 125 degrees, 3 tablespoons of oil, 1 8-ounce ball of fresh mozzarella, and a bunch of fresh basil and olive oil to top. The first thing I like to do is crush the whole tomatoes in a jar or in a bowl, get them nice and fine. I still like to have the chunks of tomatoes still in there. I like it has a little more rustic look to it. It has been pureed. Some people like to puree it in a food processor and then cook it down and make it a little thicker. I just like using the chunks in there, mush it up with your hands, and I think you're good to go. Next, you want to put that into a pot on the stove, add a little bit of salt, and bring that to a simmer. Let it simmer about 10 minutes. It doesn't take long. You really just want that to heat through to infuse some of those flavors. And then we want to start on our dough. For our dough, you want to combine all the dry ingredients. Combine the yeast, the salt, the sugar, and the flour all together. And then you want to get your wet ingredients together. You'll want to get your 2/3 cup of water. I like to add the 3 tablespoons of oil to that water and then combine that into the flour mixture. So we'll just add some, mix up the dry ingredients a little bit, and then we'll add the wet ingredients and then begin to stir with a wooden spoon or any kind of spoon you like, metal spoon, a fork, your hands, your fingers, it doesn't really matter. Get that going. You want to stir it around a little bit. You really want this to form into like a soft, sticky ball. As you can see what's going on here, it's just starting to get a little sticky. You'll have some flour stuck to the sides, and then check it with your fingers, make sure it's good. After that, you want to dust the counter with some of that flour you had on the side. One thing I did forget to mention is that you got to oil a sheet pan, because that's what you're going to cook it on. Get that nice and brushed around, smooth around so it covers the whole thing. Now turn that dough out into the table onto your floured surface, and then you're going to start the kneading process. This usually takes 4 minutes or so. As you're going through, you can add flour to it, as you see I do. Add some flour if it's too sticky. If it sticks to the table, add a little more flour, keep kneading it. And you really want something that's really soft and elastic in the final product. It kind of takes a good feel for this. If it's the first time doing it, you might not know what that feels like, but I think you should have a good idea. It gets kind of spongy and elastic. It forms a nice ball. And then you want to go to your next step. Just kind of set that to the side. And then you want to reflour the surface of the counter. Now flour the surface again, because you're going to roll it out now with a rolling pin. Place that ball in the flour and just kind of roll it out into a circle. Like a 12-inch circle, 14-inch circle, somewhere around there. Again, keep turning it over every once in a while. Keep it nice and floured. One thing you might want to do is get some flour on that rolling pin before you even start. Gives you a little head chance. Keep your hands a little bit floured. You don't want anything sticking. This pizza dough is pretty elastic. It's pretty good. And then once you get that done, you get a nice little circle. Sometimes I do squares. I'll do like a flatbread style. You can do this thick too and just do a flatbread. It just takes a little longer to cook. It turns out nice, and it is actually pretty cool. Here you see I turn it onto the pan here. Real simple. Just make sure it's nice and flat. Make sure the pan is completely oiled. And then we're going to add our sauce. The marinara, or not marinara. It's the just red sauce. It's just the San Marzano sauce. It's and hey, look, you can see my studio lamp in the background. Good job. So just keep saucing it, and Yeah, there's the studio lamp. Hey, it's supposed to be in the shot, right? So you get that sauce nice and even. Keep the edges clean. You don't want that dough to rise on the outside of the sauce. Now we'll start putting our fresh mozzarella down in a nice pattern, however you want it. I like to look rustic. Then you want to get that pizza in the oven that was preheated to 425. I did forget to mention that. I'll pop that in the video, you'll see it. And I like to take the stems off the basil and then tear them into little pieces. I like to tear it and not cut it. If you cut it, it kind of ruins the oils, which is kind of what you want. And then put it in the oven for 14 to 15 minutes, sometimes 18 minutes. Just check the crust, make sure it's not burning. You want that on the bottom shelf in the oven. And then take it out and you should be good to go. Now you want to turn that on onto a cutting board so you can cut that with either, you can use a pizza cutter. I use a chef's knife. I like it easier if you cut through a knife, you know, the crust a lot easier. It's just what I do, so I've done for a long time. Then you can start to top it with the basil, and that's really all it's getting is get some chopped basil, you know, fresh mozzarella, chopped basil, and maybe a little Parmesan at the end. You know, make it look pretty. Make sure it's completely covered. Some people like a little bit of basil. I prefer a little more. I think for the flavors that. Hit it with a little extra virgin olive oil. And then some shaved Parmesan, which is slow motion because that's a cool effect. That's what we do. Yeah. So it looks pretty, and you're just gonna cut it. Cut it how you want. 3 slices, 2 slices, 8 slices. I did 8. I shared this one. This is pretty good pizza. And that's basically it. I mean, now you have your margherita pizza. You can actually eat this point. At this point, I'm just breaking the pizza apart, just making it look nice, and give you some action shots here. But yeah, that's all said and done. That's your pizza. That's your margherita pizza, and hopefully you enjoy it, and you know, give it a shot. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and be happy to answer questions. But keep in mind, you know, I do real estate. If you have any questions about real estate, give me a call, shoot me a text. Check out my website, parealestategenius.com, and I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I hope you try it out. Let me know how it works out for you. And I do taste it here. Look at the halo light. Yep. Ring light right above my head. Yep, missed that one, huh? And eat it. There you go. It is good. It's a very good pizza. I hope you enjoy it like I did. Thanks.